Juneteenth is Monday. And I wonder, maybe I should Google this. I'm wondering how the percentage of white people that still don't know what Juneteenth is. What do you think that would be?
I don't know. Maybe 50?
50%. Cassie's
think more?
Cassie's skeptical eyes.
72?
Yeah, I think it's
72.
higher.
It's higher than that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Even in the South?
Yeah, even more
especially.
so in the South.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was talking to, I'm not going to out them. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were confused as to why places of business were closed on Monday. And I explained it's because of Juneteenth, and they were like, what's Juneteenth? And I had to explain to them what Juneteenth was.
Yeah, I think it would be a pretty high number. I think you'd be bummed out. But let's try to help here.
Yeah.
So what is Juneteenth?
Basically, it's a National Independence Day. It's a federal holiday that commemorates the emancipation of enslaved people in America. And though all of the slaves did not necessarily know that they were free, once this law was passed, all of the slaves did know they were free by the time that all of the slaves found out. So, in short, it basically represents the time that black people were actually free and not enslaved anymore.
But didn't know, right?
Yeah.
There were months they were still working and had no idea that they were free. So that's what Juneteenth is. So we asked Mo and Keity to come in today and give it some context, give it some texture with people in your lives.
So, yeah, I took some time to ask some of the people in my family what Juneteenth meant to them. For me personally, it really is just an opportunity to pause and to think about all of our ancestors who sacrificed their lives for our freedom in this country. And even though, like we said, they didn't all know they were free at the time that they finally did, it kind of just reminds us of how far we've come. Now we can be unapologetically black, have pride in being black, be proud to be black because of the sacrifices that some of our ancestors have made. So it's an opportunity for us all to just stop and pay homage to them. And that's for me. And here's what my mom personally had to say about how she feels about Juneteenth.
Juneteenth and what it means to me. While I'm incredibly thankful that the shackles are no more, and I do pay great homage to my ancestors, I cannot ignore the struggle that is still very real today. But from the words of one of the greatest to ever hit this earth, up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide. Welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise. Into a daybreak that's wondrously clear, I rise. Bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave.
Damn.
I rise, I rise, I rise. God bless you all.
Okay, Mama.
Angelou's got to move us out.
That's Mama Angelou right there.
That was beautiful.
That was really good. I'm proud of her for that one. This next message comes from my best friend, Keon, and this is what Juneteenth means to him.
You know, when I think of America, I can only think of how it was built. And America was built on the backs of slaves, you know, people that were stripped from their homelands and brought here and forced into, you know, working for free, forced into being ripped from their families, from their homelands, from their culture, and brought here and worked to death to the core solely for capital gains. And it was inhumane. It was brutal. And it's a dark stain on the history of America. So to think about Juneteenth and what it means, it's the day that these black people were freed from slavery. And to me, that's a day that should be celebrated. And it's a day that, you know, we should hold near and dear. And it's a part of American history, not just black history, but American history.
Great point, Key. Absolutely. Those are strong words. Proud of him as well. This next one comes from my uncle and what Juneteenth means to him.
Juneteenth is known as Black Independence Day. This national holiday is a time to connect with loved ones and celebrate African American culture. I feel this is a time to celebrate our accomplishments, our inventions, our contributions to the world since we were freed from slavery. Oh yeah, thank you, Abe Lincoln.
So shots from my Uncle D, strong words from him as well. Now, this last one is kind of funny because when I asked my family to give their thoughts on this, I asked everybody to try their best to keep it to like 30 seconds or less. 15 would be even better. And my dad sends me a 4.5 minute audio.
He fits right in here on the Bert Show, man.
Right, exactly.
Can't do anything in 30 seconds.
I think Kaylee was able to get it down to about a minute and highlight what he had to say, but this is my dad's thoughts on Juneteenth.
Juneteenth, where do I even start?
I was almost an adult before even hearing of Juneteenth and what it meant, that celebrates the emancipation of enslaved African Americans. The irony in that is President Lincoln signed the Emancipation Proclamation, but no one knew about it. As a result of it, African American slaves were allowed to fight and bear arms in the Civil War, which I believe led to a quicker victory for the North. I also believe that the South fought vigorously because they did not want to have to give up their slaves. At the end of the war, these slaves were now free due to the victory. However, most of the slaves couldn't read, and no one was really telling them, as a result of the war ending, that they were now freed men. So many of the slaves continued to work as indentured servants because they had no idea that they were now free. Now, knowing all of this and missing so many years, I make sure that not only do I celebrate Juneteenth, but try to do something productive. Thank you to all of my family that reached out and gave us their thoughts. Keity, it's on you now.
Wow. Well, first off, for me, Juneteenth is just like what you said, Mo. It's a chance for us to reflect and basically address the sacrifices that our ancestors made. And I'm more so proud that it's just being recognized as a federal holiday. Because I've been celebrating my whole life. Like, that's how we were raised. We were raised to know about Juneteenth and to know the Black national anthem. And so that now that everyone is like in on it, like, hey, y'all, we need to address this, is what I am proud about. And that's why I am enjoying the fact that we can take this time to reflect on Juneteenth. So I asked my family as well to say, what does it mean to them? But I already knew that most family went extra long.
They can't help it.
So I told my family, I was like, y'all, 15 seconds, that's it.
Maybe we should put like all the clips unedited up online also.
Okay. That'd be great.
Yeah.
And so basically I started with Mom. I was like, Mom, you got 15 seconds. What do you have to say? And this is what she had.
What Juneteenth means to me is a time in history where slaves had been freed, but not the slaves that were in Texas. They weren't freed until years later. So for Juneteenth, we celebrate them, we remember them, and we never forget.
And then as well, I had my best friend Bria say some words.
For me, Juneteenth is a moment of reflection, remembrance, and celebration for my people and our freedom.
We're all celebrating. And lastly, my other best friend Taylor, this is what she had to say.
What does Juneteenth mean to you? I feel like this holiday is a very important reminder of the end of slavery here in America and the ongoing struggle for racial justice and equality.
So do you think we should lift every voice and sing every day?
Oh, of course. Black is beautiful.
It's good stuff, you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, I think we got to put the unedited stuff up online also because it's way more layered and way deeper than that. So we'll put that up at thebertshow.com. Thank you guys. And thanks to your family members for making the time also.
The Bert Show.
Like what you just watched? Well, you can get way more of The Bert Show on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your favorite podcast.